Hey guys, I just wanted to do something a little bit different today, so I wanted to go over attack recovery, what to do when your funnel fails or your queen starts walking the wrong way. Your troops don't want to go into the base. Sometimes there's things you can do, little things you can tweak along the way to correct the pathing. It can be very difficult, especially if you're starting on the opposite side of the base as the town hall. Sometimes there's things you can tweak to get your troops to path the way you want them to go. And there's other times that you need to change course entirely and change your approach, where you may need to just stop what you're doing, rush that town hall so you get that safe second star. But I wanted to go over a couple of my own attacks here and show you guys some of the things I did to recover. This attack here is against Dave, but I started my queen walk over towards 3 o'clock, and I was my intention was to get the queen inside the base. Clearly she gets close, but she decides she doesn't want to go into the base. She takes down a couple of things. She gets really close. I set the barbarian king in over by 4 o'clock to keep her from wandering too far that way, but she takes a wild turn and goes back towards 12. I was hoping that builder hut would drag her into the base, but at this point it seems like she's set on a different path now. So I decide to take my barracks up to 12 so they can clean off that side of the base there. And then at this point it looks like my queen's just going to wrap around the base. And since she's going to stay on the outside, wrap around the base, I just send my troops in from 12 o'clock down so they can take the core out instead of the queen taking the core out. And then my queen can just be responsible for everything on the outside, and she'll meet up with the troops back around 6 o'clock. Looks like I took a lot of damage there in the core. Used a rage on the town hall just to make sure I got it. Popped the warden ability. Lots of damage right around that town hall. I'm taking a lot of heat, but surprisingly, my troops actually made it through that town hall. It was kind of a last-ditch effort. I really was not expecting to get that far, but it worked out pretty good. Queen decided to wrap around. She's making her way back towards 6 o'clock. I don't think this is one where I have a ton of troops left at the end, but it just shows, when your troops start veering off, you either need to correct the path or go with a different path altogether, or maybe you can just change your plan, mid attack. And that's kind of difficult, especially on a raid. If you're in war, maybe you can have a backup plan, but in the middle of a raid, you only get that 30-second window to scout a base. So coming up with a backup plan on such short time is not always going to happen. But I did manage to get that inferno down, and the one builder hut that I was hoping would drag my queen into the base ends up being the last building standing. Alright, I'll jump into to another video, another replay here. This was a base that I attacked in war. Now I practiced this base quite a bit with one of my teammates, and this attack didn't go according to plan either. But this is Itsu's base, and I'm using a hog attack, double hero walk. But I start off with the warden up around 11 o'clock, and the queen right around 2:30 or so. And they're just funneling, and I'm going to be sending my hogs in somewhere between 1 and 130, and they're supposed to wrap around the base, and the ram is supposed to go inside and take down the town hall. Well, the ram didn't quite make it. You're going to see that here in a second. I'll just let this play out. I'm struggling a little bit with the pups there. Alright, got the queen on the eagle, and it goes down. Okay, now here's where I send in my ram. And it just doesn't quite. I think I goofed up on the queen here because I really wanted the queen to take out those expos, so I popped her ability, which once she goes invisible, well, now all the expos are targeting the ram. Everything's targeting the ram, so it takes a lot of extra damage. I think that was my mistake on this one, but the ram just does not quite make it into the town hall. It's a punch or two away to get through that wall. And when I notice that the P.E.K.K.A. and Valk are not going in, of course they don't, I send the hogs in, and I just send them directly at the town hall. Make sure to send them in through the warden and trigger the warden's ability right when they get up on him, and then send my royal champion in there as well. Let's put some wizards down for cleanup. A couple of balloons to snipe off some of those Teslas and mortar. And luckily, you know, the hogs they pathed on around the base really wasn't that big of a deal, but was kind of nervous for a minute. I guess all these, you know, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when your troops don't go to plan, especially when you take so much time to plan it out. But anyway, looks like they're going to wrap up this base here shortly, and that's it for today's video. Thanks, guys.